navigating down in Mexico, finding the right distillery, getting great agave, getting your hands on all the things that you need to do to build a tequila brand is tough, and you're flying into Guadalajara and you're driving hours to your distillery, right? And it all of a sudden becomes very eye-opening. Oh, and there's an agave shortage and all this stuff. And so really I had, when I decided I was going to do it, I had no idea what the real risk was. I knew it was going to be tough, but now that we're actually doing it and that we've had all these, crazy experiences that have led to this point, I would say the risk is higher than I thought, but also, we're here and we're actually doing really, really well. So it's been exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bobbbaaaay. Each week with our guest episodes, I try to put the spotlight on someone who, in my eyes, has given themselves permission to live a life authentic to them. Our guest today is from Redwood City, California. After graduating from the University of Colorado Boulder in 2016, he started acquiring meme accounts as he saw a massive business opportunity in the space. This led him to purchasing and owning @Paradise on Instagram, a place for travelers, dreamers, and everyone. He's a creator of Driftword, Prince of Arts and Adventure with an uncommon perspective. And most recently, he launched his tequila company, Lo Siento, where he is the CEO and founder. Today on the podcast, this man is absolutely electric. Ryan Tierney, baby. He's here.
What's going on? Actually, that was pretty impressive. The research. I didn't even know if I told you I was from Redwood City. Nice work.
I did the research, baby. Come on now. There's a lot of, there's a lot of information on the internet if you know where to look for it. And having been doing this for quite some time, I know exactly where to go to find this type of information.
Pulls up my birth certificate.
Got your social security in my back car. Going to be running, getting some credit cards later on under your name. For somebody that doesn't have a ton of press out there on you, how do you feel about going into today's podcast? I'm super curious.
Honestly, I am so busy planning this goddamn block party that I almost forgot about it. And straight up. But I think, you've had so many impressive entrepreneurs on this podcast, and it's just like, it's an honor just to be on it. And, so many people that you and I look up to, people like Jake Cass and Brandon Cohen that have had, very public exits.
Yeah.
My stuff has kind of just been kind of behind the scenes grind, a little bit lower level, but yeah, stoked to be here and stoked to have some press.
Yeah, baby. Hey, don't downplay though what you've been doing like behind the scenes. I think and as we'll get into today, like I feel like a lot of your learnings these last couple of years and a lot of relationships that you've built through the years, I feel like this is the moment. And I think it's been a very interesting time to meet you right at the top of the new year, because I feel like this is when pretty much years of work of you kind of like figuring out your own businesses and kind of navigating that. I feel like the moment for you to really rise to the occasion, I feel like is what's happening right now. So I feel like it's a really interesting time to jump on this podcast, but you'll be alongside those names, Jake Casson and Brandon Cohen, soon enough, as long as you keep fucking building this monster of a tequila company. So I have no doubt about that in my mind, man.
Let's go. We can only hope
It's coming. You study political science while you're at Boulder, and then you find yourself as a business. 100%. Then you find yourself as a business development rep for 3 months at Blue Chip Tech. This was summer you had interned for, I believe, 2 summers. Walking into college, though, talk to me about, did you have any idea of what your life was going to look like post-college? Did you have any idea what you wanted to do as a career?
Honestly, no. I went to Boulder. I visited some random spring day in April, and the campus was looking gorgeous and
electric.
My friend, showed me an awesome time, and I was like, hey, I got to go to school here. And then, made an awesome group of friends out there. But, I never was like, this is exactly what I wanted to do after college. I thought, I had a good internship. you're just kind of like looking for like a sales job that you can make decent money. And, I didn't go to law school or anything like that. Didn't have a master plan. I definitely was always a little bit entrepreneurial, um, you know, side projects, tinkering, but never had like like a massive business or something. No founder college story. It was like the social chair of my fraternity or something. But um, yeah, I got the sales job that I for a company I interned at in Silicon Valley. We did IT consulting, and no disrespect to that company. Those owners of that company still my friends, but I hated it. Selling hardware and stuff was not my passion, and I knew that if I wasn't passionate about what I was doing, then I was never really going to hone in on my skill or really be good at it. So
Mm.
had kind of a little side hustle at the time with a buddy, and ultimately just decided to make the jump and move to LA full time. It was
Yeah.
ultimately the best decision I ever made.
It's interesting when you're just interning for a company, there's like an expiration, right? It's like a 2-month thing, 3-month thing, and then you're back to school. But then I think when you get into it probably as a full-time career, you're realizing like, am I just going to keep doing this for the next 6 months here? Like there is no expiration. It's totally on you. So I think that's when it becomes like the red flag of like, this is not made for me and I need to make the change, which respect to you because that's not easy to do, is to be able to switch it up that quickly. How did you know LA was the place to be?
That was just where a lot of digital media was at the time. That's where my friend that was doing it full time, or I guess he was doing it part time then as well. But he lived down here, and just made sounded like the right call. There's a lot more media and digital, bigger digital landscape down here than there is in San Francisco.
Totally. What was the moment that you recognized like there was this massive opportunity within owning meme accounts and selling ad space to brands? Like you had to not only recognize it, but then also have the confidence to then take the step and go for it. How did this moment kind of click and gave you the green light to go all in on it?
Yeah, I think there was just such an overwhelming shift, and at the time, Instagram was very kind of new,
Mm,
and it was a new place to navigate for brands, right?
mm,
And so just for what people like JT Barnett right now are doing on TikTok, we were like, it was a similar light bulb moment. We're like, okay, brands are paying millions of dollars for TV, uh, but you can reach as many people on a meme account for $1,000 for a post, right? And we didn't own the pages at the time. We were just middlemaning these deals, and then we were like, holy
mm.
shit, the the real value is in owning these assets. We don't have to. Why are we middlemaning? We can just run the content and the ad on the page we own, and that obviously builds more brand equity. You build a business, um, and yeah, that's just kind of how it got started.
Right place at the right time. Even then, like you have that previous experience as a sales rep with Blue Chip, and then now you're selling meme ad space. How did selling like come naturally to you? Did you have to learn it? That's a skill in of itself that
It,
I would guess that it was probably pretty natural for you.
Honestly, I mean, I would at the time. I don't think that anyone was like a particularly great salesman.
Mm,
It's just like we believed in what we were saying, right? Like it was the truth. Like you could reach more people. This is where all the eyeballs were, and the content on these communities related to the people that are tuning in. When you watch a baseball game and then a commercial comes on, like it's not the baseball game,
mm,
right? It's a break in the game. But if you're when you're watching it, when you're looking at a meme page or something, the ads are still funny. They still relate to the consumer,
yeah.
and so that type of branded content is there. That's really where just like this massive shift in branded content went, and like these massive media companies were built, like Jerry Media or the Fat Jewish,
Huge.
those guys, and those guys ultimately came out and they played it the best, right? They came out with products, they came out with games. He launched a Babe Rose, so there was just it was like a land grab for digital space, right? Like who could get the most followers, and those guys we're first movers, and look at them now.
I know. Yeah, it's literally it's incredible to think about the businesses that they have built through it, and it's only continued to grow. And especially, I think, dude with the sign he's under Jerry Media, right?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
played basketball with us this morning.
No way. No way.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's incredible. So then you end up going on to acquire At Paradise. This is in 2018, and at the time, I believe it's probably around 2 million followers or somewhere around that ballpark. But how did
mhm.
you? And here's the thing: is when you purchase Paradise, this is a shift of like you're owning a bunch of meme pages. This is very much more like branded and like this is like a travel. This is much more. This is a different opportunity. And I know you guys had approached it as like not only could you sell distribution, but you also could produce content for your clients, which then would get repurposed for their own brands. But how did purchasing At Paradise different than how did you approach buying Paradise versus buying these memes? Like what was the intrigueness to want to step into this actual IG account?
Yeah. So, the meme company was ultimately dissolved, you know, for a number of different reasons. We were kind of, for us, I think we were almost too early, and I think we obviously should have stuck with it. But there are a number of different things that led to shutting that business down.
Mm,
And I felt like the opportunity was the same, but we just hadn't saw it all the way through.
mm.
And I, I noticed that with the previous business, there was a lot of big accounts, but no flagship account, right? So like if you own a bunch of middle tier accounts, you're not going to get the same type of inbound sales as say if you own one Fuck Jerry,
Yeah.
right? Fuck Jerry is a money making machine, and they have a lot of other pages that stem off of it, but the flagship channel is really what drives the intrigue. And so
Mm.
my whole thought process was, I just need one flagship channel, and I can build from there. And I really had no fucking idea what I was doing because travel and production and all that is like such a different world. But like I was like what, 22 or 23. I was like, oh, I could do this. And so yeah, we acquired the channel, and just quickly realized that I could beat out all these production companies because we had so much more audience. So if you were a production company and you're pitching a content job for Tahiti tourism or Tahoe tourism for 50 grand or 100 grand, um, I knew that if there was another one competing for me at the same price point, another production company, we had so many more eyeballs, so I could offer both things, right? I could offer content creation and posts
Distribution.
on the channel that we owned, right? And that was, there was other companies like Beautiful Destinations also doing that, but there's just so many tourism boards and so many brands and so many people that we could get in front of just from like DMing them, hey, from Paradise. So we just quickly built a book of business, and the service offering really was content creation, posts on the channels that we own, and then we built an influencer arm of the business. So if we were going to Tahiti or we were going to Tahoe or visit Florida, um, we would bring a bunch of influencers that would also shoot the content. So the client would get content, post on the flagship channel Paradise, and post on all the influencer accounts as well.
Massive.
And all those people ultimately became some of my best friends because we were traveling the world doing all this crazy shit all the time. And, you're sharing these raw, crazy experiences like, swimming with a tiger shark with no cage, or swimming with a humpback whale in Tahiti, or all this stuff. And we just had so many amazing memories. And now, those, those people are obviously, great for everything we do now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's crazy
and
how
my best
how you
friends.
you were able to make money, build the business, and then build like these incredible relationships with a lot of creators that I know you're surrounded by. And it's like at the time you're getting to travel, you're getting to put money in their pockets, you're getting your money in your pockets. You're the guy every creator wants to be friends with because they're like, this is the guy that is my plug to traveling, having lifetime experiences, and making money at the same time.
Yeah, it was so awesome. And we had some just epic times. Like even when we were still always kind of figuring it out on the fly. Like, we closed a huge deal once with Visit Florida. And so 8 of us got in a Sprinter van and put 2,000 miles on a Sprinter van in 9 days, going basically around the entire state of Florida. And it was like, uh, and it was just constant mayhem the whole time. You're traveling with 8 people sleeping in the back. I mean, when we'd go to each location, we'd stay in hotels and stuff, but like, it was just so hectic and so hilarious and just nonstop comedy. And like, obviously sometimes when you're driving like 500 miles to the next destination in the middle of bumfuck Florida, it sucks. But just the memories that we created together was just so fun.
Oh, I believe it. How is all this traveling for you? I don't know, like up until before Paradise, did you have a lot of traveling experience? If not, how did this start changing your perspective as somebody that was raised outside the city of San Francisco?
I was fortunate enough to do a fair amount of traveling when I was younger, just from my parents taking me to cool places.
Mm,
But Paradise travel is different. Like, my it was like resort travel with my parents, right? We're going to
yeah.
like Hawaii and stuff. But, sometimes for Paradise is like you're out in the middle of nowhere, right? And showcasing these insane destinations that would be tough for a tourist to even either know about or, you know, have access to, right? We were for an example, in Tahiti, we were, escorted around by a former French free diver through the fishiest atoll in the world, learning to spearfish, doing all this crazy stuff. And like, that's like a pretty unique experience that I definitely gained through Paradise and nothing
Wow.
else.
Yeah, that's a whole different types of travel than when you're going up with your parents, going to resorts and probably playing mini golf and doing all the family activities. Where this is like you guys are setting it, doing things that you can't even pay to sign up for and do. It's just like either locals know about it or the creatives that you're traveling with have traveled there before, so they know like the ins and outs of the destinations.
And I will say, like, these travel influencers and creators and content creators, right? From the outside, it looks like they have the most glamorous, insane life. You want to be them, right? They're in Tulum and they're in Tahiti, but these people are the hardest working, grinding people I've ever met. You know, we're out 10 hours in a day on a hike, swimming. We're dog tired when we get back. And then what are they doing? They're editing their photos. They're, coming up with storyboard for a content piece that they're working on that's due in 5 days. They're making videos from the day because they're required to by the client from TED Tourism. So it's like it's nonstop. They're living the adventure, and then to showcase the adventure to people like you, so that you go there, they are
Yeah.
grinding, and it's honestly impressive.
Yeah, there is no on and off switch. You have to find the balance of like I don't know how they do it because I know exactly what you're saying. Like I don't know how they're able to be present and actually enjoy their trip where at the same time they're like thinking of like photos, video concepts. It's like a balance that I don't understand how they're able to do, and I think most people don't recognize it. Like they just everyone wants to travel the world or be one of these influencers, but I don't think they realize like how much every part of their day it's like calculated of like, all right, so we're going to this thing today, so this means we're going to get X amount of assets, photos, videos. It's everything is business oriented
Totally.
while at the same time also enjoying what they're actually doing.
Our buddy Carl
How,
is
how
in Croatia right now, and he's sending
say it
us
again?
videos. Like, our buddy Carl's in Croatia right now, and he's sending us videos. You know, up at 4 in the morning on his laptop, like eyes just like trying to stay awake because he's editing his shit from that day, right? And then the next day he's
Wow.
getting up at sunrise to shoot the next thing, and then he's going to edit that so that you can follow along with what he's doing, which is why he has so many followers on Instagram, right? Because it's current. You feel like you're a part of his travel. So
Yeah.
it, once they're done with the shot or the adventure, then it's like now the tedious editing, the the hard drives, all that stuff. So mad respect to those people.
When the pandemic first hit, what is your initial reaction as your main business is about travel?
Ooh, so our company was actually acquired in February of 2020. So Um,
No
that was
way.
a good
You
time.
avoided that?
Mhm. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
yeah, we didn't. I mean, I guess I didn't technically, avoid it altogether because we had just sold our travel business to a larger media company. I had become an executive at that company, and we had big growth plans, right? Like we had big clients that we were going to do deals with. We had all sorts of shit ready to roll, and we all, obviously had to put on the brakes on a lot of stuff. And I was like almost even feeling guilty, like, holy shit, what is going on? Um, just because who knew what was going to happen to travel? And obviously everyone at that company was a little bit nervous, but they're cranking away now, and they're crushing, and they got all sorts of deals coming through, and they're doing great. So
Wow.
yeah, but me personally, that was I got away with one.
Oh my god. Of all people,
Yeah,
Tierney, I'm not surprised that you were able to slip underneath that one because that is definitely not a position you want to be in, and having to, pretty much shut it down for an extended period of time like that. But yeah,
it would have
you
been
definitely
tough.
avoided. Yeah, I'm sure you would
Would
have
have been
found a
tough for
way, but
us.
it would have been a headache to figure out.
It would have been really tough. It's not like I was like making a ton of money at that point. I was like, you know, trying to pay
Reinvesting.
rent and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Just
mean, like I wasn't paying myself a salary. Like the company was like, we were like just hitting our stride. Um, and at that point I would have had a tough time. So, uh, definitely grateful for how things worked out.
things happen for a reason, my friend. Lo Siento Tequila. Big, big topic of today's conversation. I got a bottle looking at me. Very tempting to
Let's
touch.
go.
We're not we're not touching it
It
just
is
yet.
Friday.
Got it
It
is
is
Friday,
Friday.
but we gotta stay down for the pod and maybe fire up a shot at the end of it. Um, you're one of the first people that I meet after moving to Venice, and that was through Robbie. And after meeting you, I quickly find out, you're Ryan Tierney. You're starting this tequila company. I'm getting like the play-by-play updates over the weeks and the coming months up into launch. And I feel like I'm invested in the brand. Like the day the launch party happened, I was like fucking fired up because I was like, I know so much behind the scenes of what was happening. So it really, I was excited to see launch, and then I'm excited still to this day to see all the success. But talk to me about why, of all things, why tequila brand, and how you saw Lo Siento differentiating from any other tequila brand that's out there right now.
Totally. So it is a crazy story. Um, in 2019, I sat at this table uh, with a group of people that were working on a tequila brand, and I was there to help someone get into the place that they were meeting, and they were bouncing ideas and questions back and forth, and I got super excited. I was like, "This is really interesting. Like, can I just come with you guys to Mexico? I want to check this out."
Mm.
And before that, I was like, I will build you a well tequila. I was like, I felt like there was an opportunity to build a well tequila. I was also like 23, right? So like, I was a little bit younger, a little bit more debauchery type thinking of what this brand would become, and extremely naive of how hard it would be to get this thing to launch, like insane. Um, but yeah, so we went down there, and I met a lot of these people through we shot content for big hospitality brands, right? So we were already kind of entrenched in that world, but they brought me down. We were all going to do this together, and then ultimately it was like, hey, you're going to finance this project. I was like, all right, well,
Mm.
if I'm going to finance the project, then it sounds like it's my brand, and you guys are helping me with my brand, right? And which is a lot different, right? Because I was gonna kind of piggyback off a system they had built, and we were gonna have a spin out brand of what they were already doing, but that's not ultimately what ended up happening, and so I ended up trademarking Lo Siento. I felt like there was a massive opportunity to build a brand that was premium. I called it the
Mm.
premium sweet spot, between 27 and $39, um,
Mm.
and taking a relatable approach. right? And relatable, when I say relatable approach, our brand is called I'm sorry, or technically also means I feel it, but we're saying, I'm sorry. And we're saying it sarcastically, right? We're when you see Lo Siento and you're a consumer and you see it on the shelf, or someone tells like, oh, what's the name of the brand, like Lo Siento, like, oh, that's hilarious, right? So you're immediately showing the consumer that you understand them, you understand pop culture, you understand that sometimes they go out and hilarious shit happens, and you kind of shrug at Lo Siento, right? And
Yeah.
um and a lot of things, and a lot of people, they see that and they're like, oh, this must be bad tequila. And for us, um, the thing that we focused on before we did anything else was making sure that our tequila was extremely good. And our partners down there are some of the most well-known tequila makers in the industry, and they've been doing it for generations. And you know, out of our distillery, they don't even allow a brand to make tequila with any additives. So if I said I want cinnamon in my tequila or something, they'd say like not allowed.
Not happening.
So that was cool too, because we're not doing anything that undermines the integrity of the product, right? A lot of brands do put stuff in there like water softener or whatever that will make the tequila smoother or tastier. And not to say that you're allowed to do whatever you want. We just want to build a really great product, and we have a relatable brand, and I thought that was a really good match.
How are you it's interesting how you get pulled in where you're on the side just kind of helping out, maybe spitballing ideas, but then now it kind of flips where you're the sole investor, you have to put up the financial, whatever that actually looks like, it doesn't matter. There still is like this risk taking that you have to go on. How are you calculating this
Mhm.
type of a risk?
I mean, when I started, you're like extremely naive, like, oh, I got this, like it's gonna work. It's a relatable tequila brand. Everyone's gonna drink it. Me and my friends drink all the time, right? Like,
If
perfect.
anything, we'll drink the rest of it for the rest of our
Yeah,
lives.
exactly. Yeah, but um, once you get going, you realize how fucking hard it is, and uh, you know, navigating down in Mexico, finding the right distillery, uh, getting great agave, getting your hands on all the things that you need to do to build a tequila brand is tough, and you're flying into Guadalajara and you're driving hours to your distillery, right? And it all of a sudden becomes very eye opening. Oh, and there's an agave shortage and all this stuff. And so really, I had, when I decided I was going to do it, I had no idea what the real risk was. I knew it was going to be tough, but now that we're actually doing it and that we've had all these, crazy experiences that have led to this point, I would say the risk is higher than I thought. But
Mm.
also, we're here and we're actually doing really, really well. So it's been exciting.
There's no going back at this point. You're already all in. There's no
Yeah,
option B. You just have to continue marching forward with your band playing behind you and just full speed ahead.
exactly.
What when you think about that entire process, because I don't want to, you're now in the launch phase, but like the conceptualization idea to then actually having the final bottle with the label on it, there is so many things that happen along that on that journey of figuring it out. What were some of the
Mhm.
biggest hurdles that you faced that come to mind when you think about the process of going from conceptualization to then actually launching the product?
I think, and looking at Paradise, right? We're putting out a content piece, and it's a video, and we we always wanted those to be perfect, right? Um, and we made great content, which is why we got more jobs.
Mm,
But the nerves are a lot different when you're putting out something that people are consuming, and particularly with spirits, right? If you put out a shitty tequila, people just shit all over you. Like, oh, tequila sucks. And
mm.
that's is honestly, it was pretty scary, right? And I knew that we had good tequila. We had seeded it to some friends. We were at it for years trying to make it so good. But once you get it out in the market and you're watching people buy it at the store or sip it, it's it's definitely a little bit different, right? And it
Mm,
is certainly more nerve wracking.
mm. Yeah, because now you're actually it's no longer just your guys' opinions of like this is the best tequila. This is like pure unbiased opinion. Go buy this bottle. This is the logo. This is the title. Take a sip. Let us know what you think of it, and then you really can't influence the opinion after that.
Yeah, and for the label and stuff too, like we beat our heads against the wall for months. Like we originally had a different bottle,
Hmm.
and then we're like, oh, that looks kind of like a vodka bottle. We had a different logo. We switched logos. 30, we probably made 50 tequila brands, right? But I was never down to launch with one. It just never felt right. And like in 2021, there was like a 5 month process where I was like, holy fuck, we're never going to launch this brand because I don't like it. I don't like what we have. None of us were like super ecstatic. Um, and so it took a while, but then finally we, we came up with some packaging that felt like it fit the brand mold. It felt premium, but it also
Yeah.
felt new and fresh and fun. And we want it to stand out, but we want to be a little bit different, right? Like our labels change. We have the white for the Blanco, the orange for the Repo, and then the blue for the Añejo. And it kind of gets darker as the tequila gets darker. It's our colors are fun.
Mm.
I was like married to orange. I was like, we need to do orange. There's not a lot of tequila brands doing orange, if any, and like it just
Nailed it.
finally it all came together.
Yeah, I don't think you guys could have nailed looking at the bottle right now. Like for people that actually watch it visually, I don't know how well you can see it through the camera, but like I don't think you guys could have nailed the coloring and the labeling, the design any better than what it actually ended up coming out to be. Um, I saw a photo you had posted. I think it was in September, and it was a photo of you with the team down in Mexico. You guys were all sitting around a table, and you had the caption had said, "This was one of my favorite moments of one of our first long team meetings in Mexico. This was the first time we all came together to discuss how we saw the next 4 years laying out. The 4 years is what caught my attention. How do you approach like I know this is all new to you, especially with like an actual product brand versus like media production, but how are you approaching long-term planning? Like, do you try to map out month by month where you guys are going, or are you much more of like, we kind of have idea where we want to go, but let's just like go with the flow and just see where we end up?
Whew. Yeah, so I mean that meeting was like where we all really got excited when I and it was years ago, or maybe years ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago, um, when I told them the name was Lo Siento, and they were all like, "Oh, that's fucking awesome," right? And everyone got excited, and we started. We were I think we were discussing flavor palettes that day too, flavor profiles, and we were discussing how are we gonna lay out the growth of this brand. And these are our partners, so we're doing inventory planning for years. We're doing how much tequila do we need to have in 2022 or 2023, and obviously no one can ever get it right. No one ever gets their growth predictions right on the head or even close usually. But yeah, like for us right now, to your point about where are we targeting the brand right now, I'm just hyper focused on West Los Angeles. It's because it's where I
Yeah,
live. We have a big community of people. We know everyone in Venice. We know everyone in Santa Monica. There's an awesome group of people that live here that are extremely supportive. uh, you go to the bar, you go to Winston House, or you go to the Grand Blanca, or wherever we go every weekend, you see tons of people, and I felt like I had spent enough time here and you know met a lot of people that this was somewhere we could win just through the power of our community. And
totally.
I think a lot of alcohol brands, especially ones that don't have the firepower of like a Kendall Jenner, like an 818, right? Like they can just go do a post on Kendall Jenner's page and get 818 in every state because everybody is going to see, and they can pay for the marketing, right? They can blanket the
Totally.
whole US because they have her and she's extremely famous. So every person in every state can walk into the store if they've seen her post, or they just have the firepower that a lot of brands don't, like us, don't have. But, you know, we can go control all the, we can go control all the, sell through kind of around here because we can support this area, right? Our friends live here, and these early stage brands, they go to a big distributor too early, and
Yeah.
the distributor is like, we're going to get you in every store, and you're a young brand, and they put your fucking product up in Molly Stone's in San Francisco. Who the hell has heard
Nobody
about
buys it.
you in Molly Stone's if you're a Venice-based brand and you're just getting going, right? And so you can spread yourself too thin, and that's a really it's a mistake that a lot of early brands make in spirits. And for us, is like, we just want to control as much of what we can as possible, and then once the brand is strong enough, once enough people have heard about up here, once all the people in San Diego have come up to my parties in LA, then we can go down to San Diego, right? And
Yeah.
growing the brand responsibly and strategically is a much better growth story, and something that we can actually support. Because if we go out and we want to, like, all right, let's get it everywhere, then I have to go spend the marketing dollars to make sure that people everywhere know about it.
Are
And
buying.
that is
Yeah.
tough. So, right. So for us, it's just like, let's focus on markets that we know a lot of people know we can win. And once the brand is big enough, obviously there's going to be a point where we're spending massive marketing dollars. We're like, all right, time to go here. And we'll
Mm.
have the support and the infrastructure to go do that. But the time is not right now. We have to make sure we're winning in our launch markets.
Yeah, you're the idea of just focusing on LA alone, especially just on the west side, is so smart because eventually the word of mouth, the people that come in and out of the city is going to naturally grow. And there is so much culture and life shaping within LA that then spreads to other parts of the US around the world. Like I sometimes have to like check myself and realize like I'm living in where trends start. Like things bubble up in
Yeah,
LA or major cities like New York, and then it touches other states. And so it's like you already have the relationships, you already have like an idea of how to get this place rocking and rolling so that if you can own LA, you're inevitably going to own San Diego, which is then going to open doors to maybe um, all these other states and all these other cities. But I think you're approaching it right. It's just like not spreading yourself too thin and just doubling down on the relationships that you've probably built over the last 4 years being in LA.
totally. And people from San Diego, they come up when they hear that we're having a party. We'll have, like, 30 friends from there come up, and they come back and tell their friends, oh my gosh, I went to the Lo Siento
Yeah.
party. It was awesome. The tequila is great. Right. And it really does work. When we have these parties, we've only been around for what, 6, 7 weeks. We've had like a fair amount of events. And when we're having them, it is the thing to be a part of in town, right? Like,
Yeah.
everyone comes. Our launch party, I send out the invite the morning of, and
Ripping.
that's the whole other story. And 600 people came. It was epic, right? And
Yeah.
we are trying to build this thing that is the cool thing to be a part of, right? And it's a great ecosystem. We're having a party. All our friends show up. They drink the tequila. They tell their friends about it, and it's this. It is this. It's community building.
Yeah, you're gonna have people very soon, if not already, taking flights to come into a Lo Siento event, and there's no doubt about it. I think after this weekend with the block party and people start to see like what is happening and bubbling, I'm not gonna be surprised if I get people hitting me up like that I know that don't live in LA, like, yo, need to come to LA and we need to hit one of these like tequila parties that you're hitting because it's absolutely electric from Buff Club to I had never even been to Shore Bar. Walk in, this place is like jam packed. It's you are. I think one time I had texted you, I forget what the context was, but I said something about places on fire, and you literally not even a beat miss. You said, "I am the fire," and I was like, man, Tierney does not fucking miss a beat, dude. Doesn't miss a beat.
Let's go.
Talk to me about I know D Murphy seems like he's been a very important person or maybe like a
Hmm.
mentor in your life. For people listening, he's a
Totally.
co-founder of 5-4 Group, co-founder of Young and Reckless. He's the host of Group Chat Podcast, and I think he is an investor, a part of the company in some capacity. What have been
Hmm.
maybe two business lessons that you've learned either from directly from him or just from watching him from afar and how he navigates?
Yeah. So one, I mean, D is a co-founder of Lo Siento. Him and I,
Co-founder.
have been working on this and doing this for a long time. Uh, we just haven't actually announced it yet because I haven't hopped on group chat. So that's going to be like his big announcement. Like we just did a tequila brand, so that's why it's
Cool.
not
Love it.
public just yet. But D is an amazing entrepreneur. Um, he has been giving me like unlimited amounts of his time. He's also just a person that donates so much of his time to the community, the young community of entrepreneurs trying to go uh, make it right. He has a run club, which
Yeah.
is ultimately where I met him because Taylor Offer brought me to it, the founder of Feet.
Legend.
And I think a lot of the entrepreneurs in LA who have at one point in time gone to that run club, met a bunch of friends,
It's a rite
uh,
of passage.
gotten to it is. And, you got guys like Brandon Cohen, Borelli, Jay Casson. I think all those guys, Parker Burr, Taylor Offer, all these guys at one point, I think they did go to the run club. And,
Totally.
you spend enough time around D and he'll teach you a lot, but he also just gives immense amount of his time. He gives back to everyone and he connects the dots for so many people. And I think for me, when I was growing Paradise, D like came out with some funny song. He was like, "Yo, if you ever need a song for Paradise, I'd love to send it to you." So next day, I tell this guy, I was like, "We need to edit to the song." We post it, and he was stoked, and I was like, "All right, I got a bullet in the chamber with D." And like weeks later, because I wanted to approach him about this brand that I had trademarked because I knew he had a podcast, right? He has tons of hospitality uh, friends and connections, and I was like, "You talk extreme like so irreverently on your podcast, right?" He just lets it fly, and
Yeah.
in the most hilarious way. And our brand is about like living life unapologetically your way. This is a good match. You're going to be doing this podcast for years, and you're going to be drinking this tequila if you work with me on this. And it's like 10 a.m. on a Thursday morning when I had this meeting at his office. He's like, "All right, let's try it." And he poured it up on ice, and he's like, "Oh shit, that's good." And then like that's just kind of like where the whole journey started. And it's been a crazy, crazy ride. I mean, him and I have collectively learned a ton
Wow.
through all of it. But yeah, he's a co-founder. He's been a mentor to me and a mentor to tons of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's incredible. I hear you on the run club because I joined it around this time last year, and it was probably about a 5, 6 month stint of like I was going every single week, and then I kind of just like started. Things were shifting. I lived on the west side and started running even more. So I stopped going to the club, but for the 5 months that I did go, it was just nothing but good value and. Him and then the other leader Luke, they just always brought great energy. Great people were always there. But it's amazing to see somebody like D, who's had so much success, also go back and pay it forward. And it's clearly opened up business opportunities like with you and now him being a co-founder of the company.
Totally,
Yeah,
I
legend,
couldn't agree
legend.
more. And yeah, I think literally, literally legend.
Fired up, fired up. What thinking about everything that you do today from all your experiences, what are 3 skills that have helped you get to where you are today?
Whoa, that's a
Give them
good
to me.
question. Three
Give them to me.
skills.
3 skills.
What are these? I think learning skills in are these like business
Could
skills
be
or are these
business.
just like
It could be.
life
I
skills?
mean, it could be life, business, anything. What are 3 skills that have helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I think personal skills, people skills is big.
You're very good at that.
Like my companies have never been anything like too proprietary, right? Like I haven't gone and invented something insane. I'm not like a bookworm. I wouldn't say like I'm an incredibly smart like brainiac, right? But
Mm,
like understanding people and a lot of the businesses that I've built have really just been about hustle.
mm.
So I think understanding and understanding how to relate to people is probably my biggest skill or my most valuable skill. Uh, I would say I'm pretty persistent
Mm.
and sort of down to just get it done at all costs. and down to go for it, I guess. I think maybe hidden skill is just being naive, just
Mm,
the blind faith. I guess that's not a skill, maybe, but it's certainly something that's just kind of helped me just take the leap into the deep end and then just go and figure it out.
I love that. The first one though is really important, and I'm glad you brought it up. Is the people skill, which is I very much I'm an extrovert. I'm a people's person, so I see that in you, and that's a that's like to me my number one skill. And a question that had came in yesterday when I posted about us doing this podcast, Robbie jumped in and he said, "How to be where the action is happening." I think that is something about you that you are always in the right room with the right people. How have you navigated making sure that you are where the action is happening?
It is crazy. You have to be really calculated, right? Like, and you know, you don't want to like say this the wrong way, but like you have to be to make shit happen, especially in your early days. Like you have to be calculated in everything you do. Like
Totally.
it's in who you're hanging out with, right? Who you're gonna go get dinner with that night.
Yeah.
Like what party's going on because there's someone that you want to meet there is going to be there. Like even for like picking up investors for our company, like there's been parties that I've gone to, and going to go party till whatever 6 a.m. on a you know Tuesday because someone's going to be there that seriously because
Yeah.
someone's going to be there that you could build a relationship with, and these I'd say everyone that I've done business with has ultimately become a really close friend of mine. So these are real relationships and real connections, and understanding that those real friendships and connections are going to be the biggest thing for whatever you start next or whatever you're doing, because you're just building your support system, right? And also, like, for me, I would say I have a lot of energy. So like I'm down to go out like 4 nights a week if I have to, because every time I go out, I'm meeting people that I'm going to have a good time with that are going to support my brand. And it's
Yeah.
like, maybe not as much for Paradise, but now it's like going out is like, it's good for my brand. Being out, seeing people, having fun, shaking hands, having the after party that you've been to maybe 20 of at my house. Uh, Right, like that's all community building, because you have share these moments with people, and and now your network has expanded.
Yeah. Yeah. There's exactly what you just said. Like it is so calculated about who you're going out to dinner with, what parties you're saying yes to. Like it I don't know how to actually put into words or like a playbook of how you're supposed to do it, but that is very much when I look back in the last 5 years of my life, everything is calculated of like if I have two options of where I'm going for the night, it's like, okay, who's gonna be here? And it's not about like going to one party because you're like, I'm gonna get something out of it. It's just if you want to elevate, you need to elevate with the right people around you. And so it's very much about being
Totally.
aware of like who are you surrounding yourself with, and are they trying to push you up? Are you being inspired by being around these people? But that's
Or
ultimately going to be the
yeah.
thing that opens more doors for you.
Yeah, and you don't want like that to come across as like shallow, right? Like
Yeah.
you still fucking hang out with your best friends all the time, and you still go to the dinner with your best friends and your hometown friends. You still do all of that stuff, but like you have to make a real decision to go step into meet new people, step into a group that of people that are like trying to do big shit, and
Yeah.
like go do it with them, or go you know help them, right? Like I have friends that will hit me up, say, "Hey, like, how can I do this? Oh, let me introduce you to someone because
Mhm.
I met them at a party and I know someone that can help them build what they're building." And now it's like, okay, they're going to return the favor for you. But, you know, yeah, it is crazy, crazy calculation
Yeah.
of uh, a lot of stuff that, I would say people that uh, aren't trying to go build a brand, or go do something. You just
And you
you
don't
don't
get
have
it.
to do that.
Yeah, you don't get it. You just stick to
There's no
the
point.
yeah.
There's just no point.
It's a balance of like you're saying though. It's like it's not just like putting a hand up to all your homies and true day ones. It's just a balance of like you have to step into uncomfortable rooms where you don't know anybody to then, in order, meet right people, which then, allows you to grow and open more doors as you move forward.
And true. And also, like, it's just saying yes to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like, for me, there's certainly moments where you have to throttle off, and you got to, focus on the nitty gritty or the details of your business. And you say no. But for me, what works best is just saying yes to as much shit as I can possibly do, because you can just meet so many people and you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's Tuesday evening and I'm dog tired, and someone will be like, "Hey, you want to come to dinner with a friend of mine?" And that friend is going to end up being your lead investor, right? In your first venture or something. And that stuff has happened. So it's just, you never know what's going to happen, but you got to put yourself out there for sure.
Yeah, you have to go with an open mind and be optimistic, and that even if something doesn't come of it, whatever that opportunity is, you have to go, maybe wasn't the one, but maybe the next one will be, and which then allows you to just keep saying yes and yes and yes, which inevitably just
more at bats.
Yes, reps. As Steve Borelli would say, reps on reps on reps. I know you are still to this day. I know you play a lot of basketball, but I know growing up you were a fan of Kobe Bryant. What is something that you learned from observing him on or off the court that you carry with you today?
I think he was a relentless human, right? Like the will to win and to get it done is pretty unique and inspiring, right? And there's all those legendary stories of him, like shooting with his left hand, or in the gym at 3 a.m. I think he put in the work, and that's inspiring, and that's truly a unique characteristic that a lot of people don't have, right? It's one thing to have the vision and have an idea, and then there's one thing to like actually go and do that thing. And he's just a relentless guy and got it done at all costs. So I think that's my takeaway.
The definition of relentless. Have talked about him many times on this podcast, and it is very much the same takeaway. And it's just a great example of what it takes, like literally the definition of greatness in a magnitude of different ways. These are going to be the final five questions. These questions, one sentence answer. So it's pretty quick, rapid fire. First question: what self-care activities help you be your best self?
Working out every day.
Yeah. Smart. Either at the gym, right? Either our gym, or you're balling up somewhere in LA.
Shout out.
Yeah,
these guys have a gym.
Shout out
run
to
over there, get a couple.
Come on through after the pod. The boys will be throwing iron after this.
You guys need to start charging people monthly fees. I'm over there like 4 times a week, so I'm gonna have to just start paying you in tequila.
No, we like it's a good opportunity to see a lot of people. So it's an open door policy. If you get the green light clearance, it's open door policy, but we're very selective application process.
You got to get the green light. You can't just have. Yeah. There's a lot of bums walking down the street that might.
That's why I keep the garage door shut. No, it's not anybody can just walk in. Second question for you. If you could go back and tell yourself any piece of advice at any point in your life, what would it be and when?
That is tough.
Any time in your life, what would be the advice and when?
I mean, if you want to say like a business thing,
let's hear it.
Like, build your personal brand early and fast. Right? Like if you're like if you could go back to like 2013 when Instagram was around, like that was a big opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I think from like a personal level is just appreciate the moments that you have, especially with your family. I think like once you dive into trying to go do your thing, a lot of things, may fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
And you got to you got to pay attention to that stuff too.
Yeah.
Especially with your family, because as you go and you separate, and now my family's in San Francisco, but yours is in Boston.
Yeah.
Got to make that effort to see them.
Yeah. Yeah. You start to hit your strides in life, and it's very hard to find the time to go out and see them because you just have so much things happening. But I completely agree with you on that. Third question for you. What's an area of your life you need to put more effort into?
Ooh. Area.
It's a tough question for the tequila man that's thriving.
Organization. I think sometimes I am trying to make it all happen and moving so fast, and need to like just focus on getting one thing done at once. Right. Cause I mean, I've always been a very disorganized person, and it's like, it could be your Achilles heel. So focus on staying organized, and that whatever, your life, your business, all that stuff, and pay attention to it, because it's a bitch if you're not.
Smart man. Get organized, baby. Fourth question for you. First step anyone can take to reaching their inner potential. First step to reaching your inner potential. What's the first step?
I think you gotta like self-observation, maybe. I think take a look at yourself, be self-aware, look at your strengths, and then go do that.
Super important. That is super important. Last question for you. If somebody made it through the last 56 minutes of this podcast and they're still listening to us chirp between one another, what is one challenge you have for the listeners today? After they finish listening to this podcast, what is one challenge you have for them today?
That thing that you're thinking about doing, the idea in your head, go do it, and just go do it now, because whether it works or it doesn't, you're going to meet insane amounts of people along the way. You're going to learn a shitload of new skills, and it's going to lead to a million more things, a million more opportunities. But go do it, go get started, stop thinking about it, just go.
Amen. If there's a way to describe what this entire podcast project is about, it is literally that. It's convincing people to just start and stop making and whiteboarding all these excuses as to why they can't, and just do the damn thing. Because 5 years ago, had I not taken that first step to just start a podcast, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have met all the incredible people. Had you not decided to leave your career to kind of jump on board this meme thing, which then led to Paradise, which then led to Lo Siento, it's like we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think both of our stories are great examples of just get started and kind of see where things play out. Ryan, this has been a fantastic conversation. I had no doubt about it. Your energy is absolutely electric. I'm a big fan of you, and having only met you since the top of the new year, it's been, like I had said before, like really awesome to see the brand finally come to life. And like, I truthfully, authentically mean this. Like, I am rooting for you every step of the way. I think it's interesting that I was not a fan of tequila until this year, and there's only one tequila that I have been drinking, and I have not had a bad night on yet. And that is a true, authentic personal endorsement that Lo Siento is literally the tequila brand to be drinking. So I'm a big fan of everything you've got going on, man. And I know this block party tomorrow is going to be absolutely firing off. So please keep firing it off, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. You've had a ton of amazing guests on this podcast, and we are all stoked to watch this thing grow into a powerhouse. So keep crushing.
Oh, we're just getting started, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode today, please, I have a favor to ask from you. Screenshot whatever platform you're listening in on right now. Post it to your IG story. Tag Ryan. He is at Ryan C. Tierney. That is RyanCTierNey. Tag him, then tag me at Bobbbaaaay. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and Y. Share the podcast on your IG story. Let us know, what was the biggest takeaway? What was the learning? How did this specific episode change your perspective? What's the one thing you're finally going to go start? I would be very curious to learn. So please share out the podcast. Also below, I will have linked up Lo Siento and their website. If you're in greater Los Angeles area, you need to either grab a bottle or you need to hit one of their events. You will not regret it. And if you're not in LA, then just keep an eye out. I'm sure this brand is going to be touching your city soon enough. Is there anything else I should be plugging up, Ryan?
That's it. Let's fucking go.
That's it, baby. Let's fucking go. Thanks for being on the show, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.